What's going on, Drew Bledsoe? How are things, man?
Life's good, man. I'm actually over here in Walla Walla. We're in the middle of harvest right now, so we're over here helping the team bring fruit in, and so there's long days up in the vineyard first, and then all night here at the winery. So life's good.
Very nice. Now, I picked out one of the key words you said right there, which is fruit. And so I thought it would spruce up the interview. I grabbed some squirts, right? It's your favorite non-alcoholic drink. So I thought, as I break into one of these things, I think it'll spruce up our visit here this morning.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well, and you know the trick, right? If you mix that with a little tequila, you got a great margarita. Maybe a little bit early for tequila on a what is it, Wednesday, Thursday? Yeah. So, Wednesday morning, a little tequila to start your Wednesday morning. I think that'd go great with your squirt.
Now, do you have a name for it, the tequila mixed with squirt?
You know what? Yeah, there is a name for it, and I can't remember what it is right now. I'll come up with it. It's one of there's actually a name for that, but I just call it a margarita.
Nice, very nice. Okay, well, let's dive in with a few quarterbacks. Of course, the first guy, Justin Herbert, who's killing it so far. 4 starts in to his Chargers career. What do you see from Herbert thus far?
I think I'm pretty sure, at least on some of these shows, that I predicted that he was going to be really successful as an NFL quarterback. I really liked his game in college. I felt like he was hampered a little bit by the offense and what they gave him there with the Ducks. But he's accurate, seems to see the field really well. And then you add his athleticism to that, where he's got some escapability. And the other thing that I really felt strongly about, now I know they haven't been winning, but I really felt like he was going to a team with the Chargers that had a chance to be relevant pretty quickly. Now, all that said, seeing what happened to Tyrod Taylor is just terrible. I've always really liked him, and that's terrible for a doctor to screw up his opportunity to be a starter for a little while. Even though I think he knew, and everybody else probably recognized that Herbert was going to be the guy long term. Really feel bad for Tyrod, because like I say, I like his game. But yeah, Justin's going to be really successful for a long time. The only thing I want him to do, and this is hard when you're a competitor, I want him to put a little bit of Russell Wilson in his game and stop taking the big hits. You watch Russ play, and he just doesn't get hit hard. And for Justin, he's a big, strong dude, but he's wearing quarterback pads, man. You can't go take on the linebacker, as tough as you want to be. You go start taking on linebackers, and you're wearing those little tiny shoulder pads. He's going to end up getting himself hurt.
I hear you, man. I want to ask you about accuracy, because Justin Herbert at Oregon, he was inconsistent with his accuracy at times. And now in the pros, it's like he's pinpoint. So how often have you seen that when you were playing with other quarterbacks? How often do you see it when you watch the game now?
Well, so accuracy is an interesting thing to try to analyze, because, it's like if you're anticipating and throwing to a spot and your guy's not where he's supposed to be, you look like it was an inaccurate throw. But in actuality, you've got, it's inconsistent on the other end. You look at Carson Wentz, for example, who's had a tough season to start with this year. First of all, he's getting killed because they're down to like their 4th or 5th offensive tackle, but they're also down to a bunch of receivers he's never thrown to before. And so trying to be accurate to a receiver, it'd be similar to hitting a blind golf shot where you can't see the pin and nobody tells you where it's going to be. So it doesn't matter how good you hit that 7-iron if you don't know what you're aiming at. And so with Justin, I watched him pretty closely in college. When he had a chance to hit a guy in stride that looked like it was on time where it was supposed to be, he actually was pretty accurate. The other thing he had going in Oregon, there just wasn't much separation with his receivers. So I really felt like some of the criticism of his accuracy in college was unfounded.
Interesting. Drew Bledsoe joins us here on the Brian Noe Show. How about the hits that you take, especially at the NFL level? Can you just give us an indication of what it's like to try to be accurate, try to do everything you're responsible for while getting pounded?
Well, first of all, it's been a long time since I've played, and so I watch some of the hits that these guys take, and I look at it like, man, why would anybody do that? That just seems stupid to go put your body through that. But when you're playing, you really don't think about it because you can't. If you're out there and you're worried about getting hit, you can't even get a play started. And so you don't really think about it. The other thing I will say, and this is whenever I say this, I feel like I'm the old quarterback that's just being like, all old people like, oh, back in my day, it was different. But the truth is now the quarterbacks especially, they really don't get hit nearly as hard. I see some of these roughing the quarterback calls, and they're like, dude, they wouldn't even have thought about reaching for their flag when I was playing, and now that's a fine. I saw a good interview with Bruce Smith. They asked him how many sacks he would have if he played today, and I think he had, 200 and some. But the funny thing he said, he goes, I went back and looked at my sacks. Over half of them would have been penalties today, including most of the ones he had on me. Matter of fact, he would have been fined for a couple of the hits he put on me back in the day.
That's funny, man. He might have gotten deported for some of the hits he put on you.
Right. I'd have pressed criminal charges. I should have, actually, for some of the hits that some of those guys put on me back in the day.
How about a couple of the guys that are a little bit older now, like Drew Brees? We just saw him on Monday night where it looked like he had, I don't know if it's a hamstring issue or something lower body. He had a hitch in his giddy-up over there. But I'm just curious, where you take hits for decades. We saw it with Phillip Rivers last year. I think that he got rid of the ball instead of taking some hits at times. Are you seeing that with Drew Brees right now, where he might not hold that ball as long as he used to?
Not really. I think he's trying to get the ball out on time and appropriately. But one of the things that when you see quarterbacks, you see a guy getting rid of the ball a little more quickly. That's not necessarily because they don't want to get hit, or it's just that when you are getting hit, you just speed up your clock in your head. Yeah. It's not a courage thing, or it's not a seeing ghost thing. It's just like, oh, okay, the last few plays, I've gotten hit. So I know I just don't have that much time. So I'm going to have to get this out and try to anticipate and just get it out of my hands to have a chance at a successful play. The other thing, I think that's really evident with Drew and with the Saints is how important Michael Thomas is to that offense. Mm-hmm. Set the all-time record for catches a year ago. Now he hasn't been available for the last month. I don't know what happened this last week. Somebody got in a fight at practice. I didn't see the report, but it just becomes very evident, that he is their go-to guy, and he's the guy that Drew really relies on. And then that also frees things up for other people. So my prediction would be that the Saints offense and Drew Brees are going to look quite a bit different when they get their number one guy back on the field.
Was there a fight between teammates that you witnessed where you were like, wow, if the public only knew about this one?
Yeah, there were a few. There was one in particular, and I won't say the names, but it happened right about like bed check time at training camp, and I was going down to brush my teeth, and all of a sudden I heard this commotion around the corner. I went around, and I had never seen anything like it. These are two very large, very strong humans. And all of a sudden I heard this noise. It was like fists landing on faces from two of the largest, strongest men in the world. But then there was the one name I will throw in there, though, that actually broke that fight up was Sam Gash. He was our fullback. And Sam was always known as one of the hardest hitting dudes in the NFL. And he also was a guy that everybody had such respect for, that even though these guys were bigger than Sam was, he was the one that jumped in and stopped that fight. He's like, yeah, because this one's over. And he walks him away, and nobody would mess with Sam, even though they were bigger than him. And outside of that, then you see the fights at practice. And, at every level, I always think it's pretty funny when a guy punches another guy in the helmet. I mean, that's just not very smart. Like, if you're really gonna try and inflict some damage, punch him in the stomach or something. But you go punch a guy in the helmet, you're just hurting yourself, man. But those are always pretty funny.
I've always said this, Drew, and this is random, but I'm going to tell you it, and it brings it home. I've never been punched in the stomach before. Any fight that I've been, everybody tries to punch in the face, and these training camp fights are the perfect example. Someone could be wearing a helmet, and you still go for the face.
Yeah, I've only been punched in the stomach hard one time, and that was from my wife. And it turns out she really doesn't like to be scared. So I was hiding in the kitchen, and she came around the corner, and I stripped down, wow, like that. And she punched me in the stomach so hard, Brian, she just dropped me. And then she tried to apologize, but I don't think she was actually really sorry. She's like, I told you, I don't like to be scared. Don't do that again. I'm like, okay, I won't. Let me just catch my breath, and then I apologize. I won't do it. It'll never happen again.
I love it, man. He's Drew Bledsoe, former NFL and Washington State quarterback, joining us here on the Brian Noe Show. Tom Brady, what have you made of his start with Tampa so far?
You know, what Tommy brings, and this has always been the case for as long as he's been in the league, what he brings on Sunday, obviously, is, you know, the outstanding quarterback and you know, throws the ball well, he's accurate and all that stuff. But the real value that Tommy has always brought to an organization is from Monday through Saturday as you're preparing for games. And, you know, the work ethic that he displayed and still does display, that is even more valuable than what he does on Sundays for an organization. Because if you're, you know, Tom Brady, you know, one of the most famous athletes in the world, and he's the first one in, last one out, and all of a sudden there's nobody else in the organization, you know, right down to the equipment guys, that has any excuse for not working hard. Because this guy's, you know, he's got money for days. He's got more accomplished than any other quarterback, but he still outworks everybody else. And I think because of that, what you'll see is that the Buccaneers will continue to improve throughout the course of the season. And then there's also, you know, I mean, it's just sort of obvious. There's a getting to know you phase that everybody in the NFL missed out on this year with, you know, no off season and, you know, abbreviated training camp and so on. And when you go to a new team, that becomes even more important because you just, you know, even with all of his experience and some experienced guys around him, other than Gronk, there's, you know, none of these guys he's ever thrown to before. And, you know, that'll continue to improve for him as well. The biggest thing that they have to do, though, for Tommy, and this was always the case in New England, is they have to clean up the middle of the pocket. So your center and your guards have to really set that pocket so that he can step forward, because he is a long strider. And where he really has trouble is if they allow guys at his feet, then that's when his accuracy really falls off. If they clean up the outside stuff, never bothers him. But they're going to have to continue to clean up the middle of the pocket so that Tom can step into his throws if he's continued to play at a high level.
How about a guy like Le'Veon Bell, who's now going to be a free agent? Do you think that would help Tampa if they were to pick up someone else?
You know, I don't know, man. I don't know Le'Veon, but, you know, he's now been in two situations where, you know, it was not smooth, where he was a problem. And it's one of those. And again, I, you know, don't know the guy. I haven't been around him, but where there's smoke, there's fire. And if you're in two spots where you become a problem with the Steelers, where you choose not to play for a year and then you go to the Jets and partway through a season, you know, you're asking out, and they're eating $6 million and just putting you on the street. That's a pretty big red flag. And so any team that he goes to, I think they're going to have to do a lot of investigation as to what actually transpired in those situations. I do think if he went down to Tampa, where you've got really strong leadership with Tommy and Gronk and some of those guys, he could potentially fit there. But I think general managers are going to be kind of wary. You're like, okay, this guy's been a problem twice. You know, and you saw that with AB, with Antonio Brown, you know, a year ago, where, you know, it was a problem, and then he went another place and it was a problem. And at some point you sort of run out of opportunities. You know, if you know, if it's sort of like if you see somebody that's been divorced 4 or 5 times, you're like, yeah, you know, I'm sure that the other person was part of this, but evidence says that, you know, if you're 4 strikes and 4 divorces, you might be the problem, you know. And so for Le'Veon, that's what general managers are going to be looking at, is like, okay, was this guy the problem here?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't want to put words in your mouth. I was saying some things along the same lines, where I just dislike where Le'Veon, apparently he was on Twitter and he was liking tweets where they're saying, hey, Gase doesn't know how to utilize this guy. Hey, he should get traded. And he's liking those tweets. Adam Gase was like, I wish he would have just come in and told us that instead of going on social media. I agree with that. I think that's not the mature way to handle it. What's your make of it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know, I think that and you know, we can take that all the way out to culturally what's going on in the world right now, where rather than having honest discourse and sitting down and, hey, we've got a disagreement, let's sit down face to face and talk about it. Instead, it's like throwing out tweets to the world or firing random text messages late at night, and that's never an effective way to communicate. Now apparently, if what he wanted was to get out of the New York Jets organization, which can't really disagree with the desire to jump off a sinking ship, I guess. But if you're going to go about it publicly, with tweets and social media and all of that, rather than talking to somebody directly, if you're doing that intentionally, and you just want out of the situation, that's probably going to get you out of the situation. But if you think that that's an effective way to change your relationship with somebody, that's never going to work.
He's Drew Bledsoe joining us here on the Brian Noe Show. I wanted to get your take on the Pac-12. What's your stance on the Pac-12 playing the least amount of games of any Power 5 conference?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think they should have been playing, to begin with. I think there's protocols to put in place that have allowed the other conferences to play. The NFL has been able to play, even though they've had to be flexible. And I'm sure they knew going into the season, hey, this is not going to be super smooth, but we're going to do it. So I really think, the Pac-12 should have been playing all along. So there's that. But then, beyond that, I mean, if you're only going to play 7 or 8 games, I guess at the end of the season you're going to be ranked, but you can't get into the championship series if you win all your games. I just don't think that that's equitable with the other teams. So I don't know. I'm glad they're playing. It's better than not playing. But in my opinion, there were ways that they could have gone ahead and gone forward to begin with. But again, I don't want to get crushed on Twitter, so I'm not going to go any farther than that.
That's right. You don't want Le'Veon to come after you, right? He might start liking some negative tweets about you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The next thing you know, Drew Bledsoe doesn't care about people and wants everybody to die. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I think that there are ways that they can do it. And then also, if you look at it, young, healthy people are really not at nearly as much risk as others. So, but if you're out there and you disagree with me, that's totally fine. Just know that I love everybody. I don't.
Yeah. So what's keeping you busy, man? What's going on in your world these days?
Oh, man. Well, right now, we, at the winery, we got another, 10 tons of fruit coming in today, 10 tons of grapes coming in today. So I'm trying to help out and also stay out of the way so I don't screw anything up. Doing that, we just launched a brand new winery as of this morning, which was cool. Bledsoe McDaniels, we had a little bit of Syrah and some Willamette Valley Pinot Noir. But we didn't make enough wine. It's as of right before we started, in 24 hours, the wine sold out. So that one's all gone. So sold out's a good thing. You like that to happen. But next year we need to make more wine because it went away too fast. Yeah.
By the way, this is random, but this is where my mind goes. How much has your grape knowledge grown? Right? Like, you're in business. Can you look at grapes and be like, good batch of grapes? Or say, these are a little bit not so great?
Yeah, the short answer is I know just enough to be dangerous, now, which, it's like when you're growing up and all of a sudden you get just a little ounce of knowledge on some topic and then you think you're an expert. And that's kind of the window that I'm in right now, where I've got a little bit of knowledge, but just enough to be really annoying to my winemaker. But he's really patient and continues to educate me. But every time I sit down with him and actually start to, really quiz him and try to learn some stuff, I invariably find 1 or 2 topics that I didn't even know I was supposed to know. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a big chunk of knowledge that I'm still not even aware that I need to pick up before I could actually, I do tell people I know enough that if you gave me some really good grapes, I could make you a perfectly average bottle of wine.
There you go.
But in order to really elevate that, that's why I've got an amazing team that really knows what they're doing.
I'm sure there's a ton that goes into it. By the way, the podcast, the Bledsoe's Basement Tapes. What's the deal with that? We're going to get a new batch here?
Yeah, we got to get them going again, man. This, I think with my brother and with Rue Carmichael, this whole shutdown and quarantine and, they've got younger kids and we haven't been able to get them back together. But I think, now that we're heading into the fall, I think we're going to get them back together. I think Rue, who's really the one that carries that whole podcast, he said he's been writing some stuff. We'll go set him up and he can make us laugh.
I love it. Well, hey, man, always appreciate your time, Drew Bledsoe.
Sure.
Again, cheers to you. I've got squirt in your honor. I made a trip to the grocery store last night. I'm like, this is going to spruce up the interview, right? You got to get some squirt sometimes in your life.
It's an unappreciated beverage. It should be at every truck stop, every mini mart. I think I told you that when I drive to and from Walla Walla, I know my specific gas station because they've got squirt because that's what I'm going to go drink. So, I don't add the tequila while I'm driving, to be clear. There's one spot that I stop between here and home that they always have squirt, so they get my business.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, you're the best. Drew, have a good day, man. We'll catch you later.
Sounds good, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. There he is, Drew Bledsoe.